Welcome and thanks for joining us for this edition of Scope. The Commission of Inquiry into the ill decision made by the government in 2014 to acquire the 3 billion kina loan from the Union Bank of Switzerland and related transaction is drawing to a close, with the major key players involved giving their evidence. The hearing of the substantial matters ended this week. Last week, Ben Micah, who was then State Enterprises Minister, and William Duma, who was Petroleum and Energy Minister, faced the inquiry. The inquiry has also questioned the involvement of Jimmy Maladina, a partner to the Pacific Legal Group, who was paid 1 million kina by Treasury for offering his consultancy services.
Time is catching up and the Commission of Inquiry into the Union Bank of Switzerland loan and related transactions is winding down. The COI is expected to present the reports from its investigations to Parliament on September 30th, with the substantial matters ending this week. For the last 2 weeks, the commissioners have been very busy with examining key people involved in the transactions. Minister for State Enterprises William Duma said he was decommissioned as the Minister for Petroleum and Energy in the O'Neill-led government on February 24, 2014 for expressing his views. Under Section 99 and 100 of the Oil and Gas Act, the Minister for Petroleum and Energy authorizes transfers and deals.
The Prime Minister raised this issue in general terms. He said he was looking at a transaction. He did not tell me whether someone was going to purchase, I did not know who, but whoever it was going to purchase a company which held an interest in an oil field or the license itself. So they're two different things. And at that time, the Prime Minister wasn't specific. He did not tell me that the government was going to borrow to then acquire an interest in oil states, or that oil states would then, after having received the proceeds from the UBS financial loan, then purchase PEC LNG's interest. But I told him my views. My views were that as a government, we shouldn't become an investor.
Another key minister then, Ben Micah, said he had nothing to do with the NEC submission during a cabinet meeting on 6th of March 2014 when he was the State Enterprises Minister. He was answering to questions raised by the members of the inquiry if he had a role to play in the NEC submission on the controversial Union Bank of Switzerland loan and related transactions made by the government. Micah said as the State Enterprises Minister, he was responsible for coordinating the refinancing of the IPEC loan that was used to acquire the government equity in the PNG LNG project.
I was aware of the UBS loan to buy back our shares from the Arabs, from IPEC. I was not aware that there was such a loan to acquire 10% of all shares.
According to Don Pollier's evidence submitted earlier before the COI, he said the NEC submission on March 6, 2014 was done by UBS. The former treasurer said the cabinet paper was not drafted by the Treasury or any state entity, or even Ben Micah. He said it was prepared by UBS and pushed down the throat of Papua New Guineans to the PNG cabinet to drive their business agenda. Micah said Pollier had asked for his support to block the submission.
I told him that this thing is being pushed by UBS and all sets and whoever else because there was pressure from the Sydney Stock Exchange on the shares of all sets that had something to do with the decision by the PNG government to acquire shares. So this submission and the subsequent NEC decision was a preemptive strike by whoever was behind this whole deal to, for use of a better word, ambush the PNG people and PNG government through the cabinet to give the okay to this deal through this cabinet submission and through this cabinet decision.
Michael told the inquiry that it was a pity that the state no longer holds shares with Oil Search. On the 29th of July, Chief Commissioner Sir Salomo Injia questioned the involvement of Jimmy Maladina in the deal. Emmanuel Asigao, who is a partner of Pacific Legal Group, revealed at the inquiry that Maladina was paid 1 million kina for his consultancy services in relation to the transaction. The state solicitor, Daniel Rolfpagaria, during one of his earlier appearances, told the inquiry that Pacific Legal Group was assisting the state solicitor to get the legal work ready for the loan agreement. Asigao said Treasury paid 1.6 million kina as legal fees to Pacific Legal Group, of which 1 million kina was paid to Maladina.
He was involved in the transaction, and because he was introduced the matter to the firm and the arrangement that the firm had with Mr. Maladina in relation to introducing clients to the firm.
While giving his evidence, Maladina said he was paid for his consultancy services. The final report of the COI is expected to go through Parliament next month.
When we come back, St. Jude, the patron of lost causes, gets special traditional Tabu ritual. Welcome back. St. Jude, who is the patron of lost causes, is also a symbol of choosing faith when all seems lost. In fact, throughout the Gospel, St. Jude stood as a pillar of faith and died in an act of martyrdom, which is why he is often depicted as carrying the image of Jesus. Every Easter, the Nanga St. Jude Catholic Church in Kokopo, East New Britain, have a unique way of celebrating his feast day, which is adapted from the traditional Tolai Tabu ritual.
The Catholic faithfuls of St. Jude Church Nangananga in the Guranba Parish Kokopo passionately celebrate the St. Jude Day. St. Jude is the patron of lost causes. He is also a symbol of choosing faith when all seems lost. Throughout the Gospel, St. Jude was a pillar of faith. He died in an act of martyrdom, which is why he is often depicted as carrying the image of Jesus. Over the past decade, the celebration has also included the unique traditional Tolai breaking of shell money ritual called Kutu Tabu. To remember and honor their forefathers who used tabu shells to bring the gospel to their village in the 18th century. Easter celebration this year included the enactment of the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus Christ. The church also remembered elders of St. Jude's Parish who paid tabu to bring the gospel to their village over 100 years ago. Church elder Lania Pius said the celebration started with a special morning mass followed by the traditional breaking of shell money in the afternoon.
So at that time, we place commemorating this day belonging on Good Friday. Annually every year, we play making all same. Plenty time we play by just bungi me play na making this play all activities inside long culture, long tolai, long passing long booking ceremony or passing custom, long thing money die. This play we play Pokemon same inside long upload me long East Britain Tolai culture, you got two big tribe. When we call him Pikalaba and Marmar. So inside long this Catholic community we play put him to this to tribe important because long pasim mari tikam long one pla side da solo sem Pikalaba versus Pikalaba, Marmar versus Marmar. So 2 years ago we play all Marmar all Pikalaba. I've been working custom long year. But last year suppose Inobin got this COVID issue where been come up, then me plawol semol marmar by working custom long this Good Friday, but we play movie me come long display even though you face him display a bit long COVID-19, but we play ready by only come up inside long display passing custom long Brooklyn ceremony, long die long Jesus, long the cross, long Good Friday.
The special enactment of the Tolai traditional shell money breaking rituals and a showcase of the two main Tolai tribes called Pikalaba and Marmar is differentiated by Mary Blau's color codes purple and black. Pius explained that every Easter, Nangananga St. Jude Church always looks forward to the celebrations, saying the celebration of the crucifixion and resurrection was important for Christians.
Inside long culture blaming, inside making long money die by sleep long end. Now usatulan making better by say starting more bantem tabu. Now too long ya isoy more sem Jesus sem big plaman Thomas. Wasem all big plaman we got big name long all communities blaming. You may looking plenty all Lik household same where we call him long talk place, Palma Pidik. So here you can look him tripla, sanap tripla man in redeem long display date, tell long display side long marmar. The whole community we play bungim tabu, where we play starting now this year. By display tamblo long year long what nine long play. Monument is up long makim masias 100 years long lotu bin kam long year. Display monument is so him tumbuan. Belong display clan we all been kamantem lotu ikam na tubuan long apa moli kolim ye patarai na display afternoon em display tubuan em baikam long display occasion long ye na the whole community play bungim tabu long making come up display tabu we tubuan baikam bantem. So I think we play got triple tabu now we play we lotu redeem we play all get redeem long Mipla by Sabe you see him every year. So next year now I'm by Mipla all Pikalaba by Walking Custom.
The celebration is one that draws many to St. Jude Nangananga Parish to witness the traditional Tabu ritual. Many more joined in the shell money breaking ceremony.
After the break, landowners of Benaria and Homo Power of Hela Province look forward to 3.76 million payout from Gas Resources PNG LNG Pipeline Limited. Welcome back to Scope. On Saturday, the 7th of August, landowners in the Benaria and Homo Power regions of Hela Province were delivered the news of a 3.76 million kina payout of equity and royalty payments. The payment follows the completion of bank account opening for each of the 174 benefiting clans and the appointment of a director to the board that paved the way for the payment of the benefits, which is 40% of total royalty and equity benefits available to the landowners. The announcement of the landowner payment has brought about focus on community infrastructure projects, the proposed split of the Como Magarima district, the vitality of the trust arrangement, benefit distribution in the district, and the key challenge of sustainability and creation of investments for the future generations of the Benaria and Homo Power regions.
The Mineral Resources Development Company and Gas Resources PNG LNG Pipeline Limited announced the 3.76 million kina payout of royalty and dividend payments for segments 2 and 3. This payment was made up of 1.5 million kina in equity from 2014 to 2016 and 2.2 million kina in royalty from 2014 to 2018. These payments follow the completion of bank account opening for each benefiting clan and the appointment of a director to the board. MRDC Managing Director Augustine Mano reminded the people that money does not last long and stressed the importance of investment and access to basic health and education services.
Me lo MRDC and me come long moving payment over a month away. But people are something through and service must come. Money you make you miss our finish. After 1 week, ever finish. And money is supposed to be, you know, look for something. But service is important. That's why we have a role blow MRDC. And 30% is staff here. And Governor Haberton and Minister Magiba to talk this here. And this one, in the Nagolo Narpla, and Babi Blago, the building classroom, now housing.
The tribal fight between the two warring clans destroyed the Benaria Health Center and school, but in March 2020, peace was restored through efforts of the 27 clan leaders and the Hela Provincial Peace and Goodwill Order Committee, led by Governor Philip Undialu.
But important something, you blow over the 27 black clan leaders who said you take him lead, negotiate your peace. Now Hela Provincial government too, even go past the blow with peace, and walk in now. Me blow over the come back, Benaria. So was no being got peace, me blow over the family here.
MRDC's current role and sole responsibility is to hold shares in trust for the beneficiaries and manage the interests and benefits of project landowners and the host provincial and local level governments in resources projects. The benefit distribution is made up of 30% allocation for the Community Infrastructure Trust Fund, another 30% in future trust for investment purposes, a requirement of the Oil and Gas Act, and 40% in direct cash benefit to the beneficiaries. The dividends for subsequent years will be paid once the audit of the accounts are completed up to the last financial year. Royalties will also be paid once they are received from state. Minister for Petroleum Karenga Kua, speaking at the announcement of the payout, reminded the people that many others around the country were not as fortunate as them and thus must utilize the opportunities they have to better their livelihoods.
But this allocation today, me like you me understand that it not just about payment flow money. This is we got big meaning backside land. How you sit down the house line, you must look out in the court. Support local government, provincial government, district government, LLG government, like come to place, you don't have to put on and nothing. They must come sit down with more people. Suppose you got people, sit down both. Chances, the opportunity you make at developing and improving life me by no come. You must understand, or people, also planning like the property, all know that this is an opportunity, you like that. You must make use of this opportunity. Peace now, all law now, order must stop here all get a time.
Also at the announcement, Hela Province Governor Philip Undialu and member for Komo Magarima Manasseh Makiba announced plans to propose the split of the Komo Magarima electorate.
Deciding whether Komo Magarima by all quiet, and you like Canadia, Ulia Mount Sisa, one day Komo by Placidan look like electorate. So if government is all right, Magarima by all yet, now who the Canadia come or some by play 12 council board. So Mount Posame and Mount Sisa LG, and we got about 10 council board, and we come up in LG blame. So thinking from me yet, me look for them. Inshallah, who yet, Benelami, big black. So we got thinking of come up in look like LG or Benelami. You have much result. And now, okay, this is and now you get one bell, so this is a thinking. Me and Governor Middle Academy go to the last of the Paperwork, now come on this.
MRDC and Gas Resources PNG LNG Pipeline Limited will now turn their focus to developing and maintaining community infrastructure projects. Both entities are aiming to rebuild the health and education facilities in Benaria, Komomagarima after the royalty and dividend payments for segments 2 and 3 are completed. The payments for segments 2 and 3 were made on Wednesday, 11th August. That concluded the first round of payments which MRDC began 18 months ago to the PL4 areas. The payments took a while to complete as MRDC had to facilitate the entire clan account openings for each beneficiary clan in the 8 segment areas, almost 1,000 accounts in total. The main challenge now is the sustainability of livelihoods of the landowners and various provincial governments after the project ends. MRDC is presented with the paramount task of enhancing the wealth and improving the quality of life for the key beneficiaries and making sure these investments are sustainable. The challenge is making sure that there is a continuous stream of income generation flowing through to these beneficiaries after the project ends.
That ends another episode of Scope, a kind reminder to apply simple measures to prevent the transmission of the coronavirus. Regularly wash your hands with soap and water, cough or sneeze into your elbow, and exercise social distancing. If you are feeling sick, please stay at home. You can also call the COVID-19 hotline number for more information or assistance.